In the deepest reaches of winter, a profound silence descends upon the northern latitudes. The world transforms into a vast, white canvas, beautiful yet unforgiving. Here, temperatures plunge to extremes that redefine human endurance, and the very ground beneath your feet can be a frozen illusion. For vast stretches of the year, communities in these remote corners are entirely cut off, their existence dependent on a phenomenon as perilous as it is vital, the ice road. These temporary arteries of commerce and survival appear with the freeze and vanish with the thaw, bridging distances over frozen water, connecting life to lifeline. What are ice roads? They are not merely frozen rivers or lakes. These are engineered routes, meticulously constructed and maintained, designed to bear the weight of massive trucks hauling everything from fuel and food to construction materials and vital medical supplies. Without them, remote mines would cease production, and indigenous communities would face critical shortages. For a brief, brutal season, these icy highways become the sole artery feeding an entire region, a monumental feat of logistics and engineering carried out against the clock and the elements. They are the arteries of the Arctic, pulsating with the rhythm of heavy trucks. The world's most significant ice road networks stretch across two primary geographical behemoths, the vast, sparsely populated Canadian North and the immense, frozen landscapes of Siberia, Russia. In Canada, roads like the Tibet to Contwoito Winter Road crisscross hundreds of kilometers of frozen tundra, connecting diamond mines to civilization. In Russia, routes like the Kolyma Highway, infamous as the Road of Bones, brave the unrelenting grip of the Sakha Republic's winters. These are regions defined by their extreme climate, where permanent roads are often impossible or prohibitively expensive to build and maintain. Creating an ice road is an extraordinary feat of engineering. It begins with clearing snow to expose the lake or river ice to the brutal cold, allowing it to thicken naturally. Then, water is systematically pumped from beneath the surface and sprayed onto the road, layer by layer. This process, known as flooding, dramatically increases the ice's load-bearing capacity. Specialized equipment, including ice thickness radar and sonar, constantly monitors the integrity of the road. It's a race against the calendar, with every millimeter of added ice a victory against the impending spring thaw. The operational window for ice roads depends entirely on the deep freeze. Temperatures must consistently drop far below freezing for weeks, even months, to form ice thick enough to support heavy trucks. In places like Yakutsk, Siberia, the coldest city on Earth, average winter temperatures hover around -40 degrees Celsius, often plummeting much lower. This extreme cold is not just a challenge, it's the fundamental condition that makes these roads possible. But it also poses its own set of dangers, from frostbite in minutes to the cracking of metal and the gelling of diesel fuel. Understanding ice physics is paramount for survival. Ice does not simply hold weight, it flexes and deforms under stress. A well-constructed ice road needs at least 1 meter, 3.3 feet, of solid ice to safely support an 18-wheeler. However, continuous heavy loads can create thermal cracking and slush lenses within the ice, weakening its structure. Engineers must account for dynamic loads, vehicle spacing, and even the natural currents beneath the ice. It's a delicate balance of pressure and resistance, where miscalculation can have catastrophic consequences, sending tons of steel plunging into frigid depths. The heart of the ice road operations lies with its drivers. These aren't just ordinary truckers, they are a special breed, forged in solitude and danger. Long shifts, minimal sleep, and the constant threat of disaster define their working lives. Many are veterans of the northern routes, their faces etched with the tales of close calls and hard-won victories. They navigate endless white landscapes, often without cell service, relying on their experience, instinct, and a deep respect for the unforgiving environment. Their reasons vary: the lucrative pay, the adrenaline, or simply the call of the wild north. Safety on the ice roads is dictated by a strict set of rules, paramount among them being vehicle spacing and speed limits. Trucks must maintain significant distances between each other to prevent combined weight from stressing the ice too much. Speeds are tightly controlled, often as low as 25 to 40 km per hour, to prevent harmonic vibrations that could shatter the ice. Overtaking is generally forbidden. These protocols are not suggestions, they are mandates enforced with the understanding that deviation could mean multiple lives lost and vital cargo at the bottom of a frozen lake. Discipline is crucial. The most terrifying reality on an ice road is the constant threat of thin ice. While engineers strive for optimal thickness, natural variations, underwater currents, and unexpected fissures can create weak spots. Drivers are trained to recognize the ominous signs: discolored ice, unusual sounds like cracking or groaning, and slush forming on the surface. These are not minor inconveniences, they are immediate warnings of impending disaster. Every vibration, every shift in the truck's feel, is scrutinized. A moment's lapse in judgment or an unforeseen anomaly can turn a routine journey into a struggle for survival. A breakdown on an ice road is more than an inconvenience, it's a life-threatening emergency. In temperatures that can freeze exposed skin in minutes, a stranded truck becomes a metal tomb. With vast distances between settlements and often no cell service, survival depends on self-reliance, emergency supplies, and the hope of another driver passing by. Spare parts and basic repair skills are essential, as waiting for a rescue vehicle could take hours, or even days, in a blizzard. The loneliness of the long haul is amplified by the brutal reality that help might be too far away. Beyond the ice itself, the weather poses an equally formidable adversary. Blizzards can erupt with terrifying speed and intensity, reducing visibility to zero. In a complete whiteout, the horizon disappears, and drivers lose all sense of direction and depth. Distinguishing road from frozen lake becomes impossible. Convoy movements halt, and truckers often chain up together, forming temporary shelters against the raging wind and snow. These conditions test even the most seasoned veterans, demanding absolute focus and resilience to avoid straying from the narrow, often unmarked, path to safety. While this discussion primarily focuses on ice roads over water, many connecting routes on land are built on or near permafrost, ground that remains frozen for at least 2 consecutive years. Climate change is rapidly altering these conditions. Thawing permafrost destabilizes the very foundation of these critical land routes, creating massive sinkholes and heaving sections that render roads impassable. This adds another layer of complexity to northern transportation infrastructure, as the fixed land routes are becoming just as unpredictable as the temporary ice roads over water, posing a long-term threat to accessibility. One of the most famous and longest operating ice roads is Canada's Tibet to Contwoito Winter Road. Stretching approximately 400 kilometers, 250 miles, 85% of which crosses frozen lakes, it's a critical supply route for several diamond mines in the Northwest Territories. The road operates for just 8 to 10 weeks a year, typically from late January to late March. During this short window, hundreds of thousands of tons of freight are transported, sustaining operations that are otherwise completely isolated. It's a logistical marvel, an annual testament to human ingenuity against nature's raw power. Across the globe, Russia's Kolyma Highway, parts of which are permanent but become ice roads in winter, carries a far more somber history. Infamously known as the Road of Bones, it was largely constructed by Gulag prisoners during the Stalin era, many of whom perished during its construction and were buried beneath the road itself. The route spans thousands of kilometers through the vast and unforgiving Sakha Republic, connecting remote settlements like Yakutsk and Magadan. Today, it remains a treacherous lifeline, a constant reminder of both human cruelty and the resilience required to survive in one of the world's coldest inhabited regions. The operational window for ice roads is critically short. As winter progresses towards spring, the sun's angle increases, and temperatures begin their slow, inexorable climb. Engineers and truckers work relentlessly, knowing that every day lost to bad weather or breakdowns shortens their season. The ice begins to soften, bridges become unstable, and the risk of catastrophic failure escalates dramatically. There's a palpable urgency in the air as the window narrows, a frantic push to deliver every last ton of supplies before the ice roads succumb entirely to the inevitable thaw, rendering them impassable until the next deep freeze. Despite their necessity, ice roads are not without their environmental footprint. The sheer volume of heavy vehicle traffic on fragile northern ecosystems raises concerns about fuel spills and exhaust emissions. While precautions are extensive, accidents can and do happen, leading to potential contamination of pristine wilderness. Furthermore, the very existence of these roads highlights the broader impacts of climate change. Warmer winters lead to shorter seasons, thinner ice, and increased construction challenges, putting pressure on remote communities and industries that rely on this vital, yet vulnerable, transportation network. The extreme conditions and inherent dangers of ice road operations inevitably lead to a human cost. While exact figures are difficult to compile across all routes globally, accidents are tragically common. Vehicles break through the ice, drivers suffer from frostbite or hypothermia after breakdowns, and the psychological toll of isolation and constant vigilance is immense. Every season brings its share of close calls, injuries, and, tragically, fatalities. It's a stark reminder that behind the massive machines and logistical feats are individuals pushing the boundaries of human endurance, risking everything to keep the North alive. Despite the undeniable dangers and immense challenges, ice roads remain an indispensable lifeline. For thousands of people living in remote northern communities, these routes bring not just supplies, but connection to the outside world, a tangible link that sustains their way of life. They enable vital industries to operate, providing livelihoods in some of the most challenging economic environments. The annual opening of the ice roads is a cause for relief and celebration, a testament to the fact that even in the face of nature's harshest extremes, human determination and ingenuity can carve a path forward. The construction and operation of ice roads represent a profound marvel of civil engineering, logistics, and human grit. They demand an intricate understanding of physics, meteorology, and the harsh realities of the Arctic environment. From the engineers meticulously monitoring ice thickness to the truckers braving endless stretches of frozen wilderness, it is a collective endeavor driven by necessity. These temporary highways are a powerful symbol of humanity's adaptation, our refusal to be entirely severed from the bounty of the land or the needs of our distant neighbors, even when nature asserts its most formidable power. As spring finally triumphs, the ice roads melt away, dissolving back into the lakes and rivers from which they were forged. The once bustling arteries become treacherous waterways, impassable until the next great freeze. The trucks are parked, the maintenance crews disperse, and the northern communities prepare for the isolation of summer by air and then await the coming of another winter. The cycle of the deadliest winter, and the life-giving, perilous ice roads, will begin anew. A testament to a world where human ingenuity is perpetually challenged and reaffirmed by the awesome, unforgiving power of nature.